repeat basically what your motivation was in terms of the subject, why you wanted to make the film?
Okay. So I am a practicing forensic psychologist, and about 05 or 06, I started to hear things in the media, the general media, about the interrogations that were happening in the detention centers, and that there was suspicion that people were using harsh methods, torture, to get information. And I was just stopped dead in my tracks. Like, we're Americans. We don't do that. So after I got past my cognitive dissonance, I thought, I'm going to keep my eye on this. Well, then I started to hear psychologists may be complicit with some of these torture methods or harsh interrogations. And then I really had to know more. I'm like, I'm not just keeping an eye on this. I really need to find out what the heck's going on. My, peer group isn't doing this. So then I just started to plug into a lot of the different sort of chat lines and the divisions of APA, found out who the more prominent spokespersons were, and then really started to think more deeply about the themes that the various spokespersons were debating about. And so why did I think I had to make this? First, I just thought it was wonderful that my profession was exploring this topic that the whole world was astounded by, and that we were having in-depth discussions. And that I thought it really would be a worthwhile sort of model for the world to see that, there's something going on now that really does need a keen eye and further discussion so that we can get a better understanding of how we got from point A to point B. And who better than psychologists? This is what we're trained to do, is communicate and with each other and with the outside world. How was that for a long way?
Yeah, that's great. Second thing I want to know, why specifically did you choose film to get, I guess, whatever concern or message you wanted to get out? What made you get into film to begin with?
Okay, that's a great question. I've been a psychologist since 1980, but in the late 80s I started writing sort of pop psychology for various magazines on just general slice of life, and applied to Emerson College's MFA program in creative writing. And so while I was at Emerson, I started taking classes in writing for screen, writing for TV, and my attention got drawn quickly toward the cinematic. First as a writer, but then more in terms of producing. And it just seemed like a natural fit. Documentary. As a psychologist, what do? I follow the narrative of a person's life. And I just think visually.
You just think it's just a good medium in general to get that message out?
I do. I think that people really are attuned to visual messages and bring to it their own interpretation, but also, it's the gaze. What am I thinking about while I'm looking at this image? That you can communicate on many different levels with cinematic imagery. Whereas the written word, as wonderful as it is, doesn't seem to resonate the way the emotions on screen.
And I guess my next question kind of goes off it. I want to know, because it's sort of a better way to put things, were you kind of excited to have the film come here, where you have sort of a student, obviously there was other people in the audience, but you had a big student demographic that was in the first screening. Like, were you just excited to have that exposure?
Oh, I think it's fabulous. I have shown at a couple other academic settings, and I think I'm both applauding Roger Williams and the film festival individuals for inviting the film and allowing an audience of, our future decision makers to also join this journey and think about the topics, my topic and other topics all week long, that will be on your lap soon. So who better than the next generation to think deeply about the world that you're living in. It's going to be all yours.
Yeah. Scary thing.
Yeah.
I guess my last question was, are you working on anything in the future, or just brand new projects, or anything that might be related to what you just presented?
Well, this film has already gone to about 12 festivals nationally, but has many invitations throughout the next few months. So I'm sort of going on a little global tour with it, to a film festival in Sarajevo, in Scotland, in Oslo, Delray Beach. So I'm devoting this time to promoting the film in different venues and listening to my audience. What worked, what didn't work, what would you like to know more about, having the dialogue. Because I think film opens up dialogue.
Yeah.
Even if people only watch 5 minutes of this, fine. They're now thinking about something they may not have been thinking about earlier today. That's great. Mission accomplished.
Have you had panels at the other screenings
Yes.
similar to this?
Yes.
Do you see the same sort of discussions or kind of hot topics that come up, or it's
Everyone's been incredibly different.
No,
yeah. So that's wonderful. I mean, because it has a life of its own.
Mm-hmm.
The film does. You don't know what it's going to spark in the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
People, project their own life, their own dilemmas, and use this as a, taking off point. And that's great. To me, that's one of the purposes of making a film. Don't have to buy it, believe it, but start thinking about something other than yourself.
Yeah. Okay.